everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This is Erica from Confessions of a Homeschooler. Today I'm going to do a video showing you all of the different planners that I have available. I do have quite a few, and I tried to make them in just different styles and that kind of thing to fit everybody's needs. So I'm just going to show you them in a little bit more detail today. So we're gonna just go ahead and get started because I have a lot to show you. All right, so my first planner that I have is the updated, this one is the 2018 daily planner. So I only have one like quote daily planner, and this is basically a planner for just general life planning, meal planning, like appointments and activities and who needs to be when, where, to-do lists and things like that. And so I will show you this one in a little bit more detail, but if it says daily planner on it, then it's really kind of a life planner, not necessarily a lesson planner, though if you wanted to, you probably could use this for a lesson planner. It just has a lot of extra things in it that might not fit your homeschooling needs. So let's take a closer look inside this one and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here's my daily planner a little bit closer up. Now this particular one I printed on just really inexpensive copy paper, mainly because that's what I had at home, and so I just kind of went with it. As you can possibly see through this, though, they are a little bit see-through. So this page is actually, you can kind of see it through on this page. So if you don't want that, then I would suggest maybe using something a little bit nicer quality. It doesn't have to necessarily be cardstock. I will show you my one of my planners that I printed in cardstock so you can kind of see the difference. But I would suggest maybe just a nicer quality paper. They have the one that's kind of a little satiny. Those don't bleed through quite as much. But you can really just do whatever fits your needs. I honestly didn't want to spend a bunch of money on this time, so I just printed it on the copy paper that we had in there. So basically this is what the cover looks like. And then I wasn't thinking ahead, but I wanted to put these little tabs on here. This is just the daily life planner. I do like to have a print and write planner. I forgot to mention that when I started the video here. All my planners right now are print them out and write on them. They are not editable. I had so many fields. As you can see, this planner is actually relatively thick. I think it's 160 some pages. So anyways, it was just too many fields, and Adobe Writer was just not loving it, and I didn't want to get rid of fields at the expense of making it editable. So they are not editable right now. So just something to note. So I did think it would be nice though to have these little monthly divider tabs. So these were about $5-ish. I got them from my office supply store when I went, and I hadn't really planned ahead to basically put a blank page in between where I wanted these. And so if you're going to do that, maybe just think ahead and just print 1 month and then do, a blank on the in between them so that you have space to put these. Because essentially what happened for me is I have the beginning of a week and the end of that week, and then the next month. And I had to make a decision at the office supply store. I wanted the entire month together. I didn't want to have this sheet in between it, so I actually just put it in between the last page, and I just figured whatever. But you'll be smarter than me and plan ahead if you want to put those tabs in. Another option instead of buying these tabs are just using something like this. These are sticky tabs. They actually work really well, and I did that to one of my planners here back in 2014, and it actually worked out really well. And then you don't have to worry about leaving a space in between your months when you're printing or whatever. But enough about me being goofy. Let's take a look at what's inside the planner. So in the beginning of the planner, there's a 2008 and 2009 year at a glance, and if my little divider page wasn't here, they would be nicely adjacent to one another. So there's that. Each month also has a month at a glance, so you can kind of just do an overall. I like to use this for, just birthdays, sporting events, just things that are kind of, I need to stand out, and just so that I kind of can see conceptually what we've got going on for the whole month at a time. So I like having that. And then each week, and this one is a dated planner. Hopefully you can see the dates up here. Each one has a little to buy section, to clean, to go, to call, and then these are little to-do lists across the top that you could, with just little heart check boxes, and then just blank columns after that, and you can use that for whatever you want. And then there's also a meal section down here and a note section, and I'll kind of hold this up a little bit closer so you can kind of see it a little bit better. But there's the dates at the top, and then just kind of your blank areas, and then the little notes section at the bottom. And so that's what every week looks like in this planner. They're all basically the same. They're dated. Each month has the month layout. And then the other thing that I included, so this is, the whole planner here. The other thing that I included in this planner, just because I like to kind of label things, and I also like to plan out meals. Now, if you get creative, you are welcome to kind of reorganize some of this, but in the back of the planner, there is a contact sheet, and it just has, you know, contact information. There's 2 pages of that. There's also a bills and payments pages, 2 pages of that. And you can kind of, if you need more than this, you can actually, you know, you can print more and stick them in. However, you can kind of customize it since you're printing it yourself. The other thing I included was a meal planner, and this isn't dated. It just says meal planner week of whatever, and then breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then over here you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And so there's a couple of pages of that. You can obviously print more of those than you need, you know, as you need them. You can print them as you go. You can kind of hang them up on your refrigerator, you know, whatever works best for you. There's also a printable grocery list. Again, you'd probably just want to print these pages separately, and I have them categorized out for you, so you can just fill them out and then take them to the grocery store for you. By the way, if you're looking for my Busy Mom's Guide to Home Cooked Meals, has printable grocery lists that are already filled out that go with all the recipes for the monthly meal plans. So if you haven't seen that, you might want to check that out, but it's kind of similar to this, and it's really nice and helpful, especially if you don't like having to plan all that stuff out. There's also an extra information, and it's just things to do, Pinterest, you know, just where you might just like jot down. And then there's also some notes pages that you can just literally use for anything. All right. And then in the back, I wanted to have some printable labels. Now, I printed them out just to show in this planner, but I would print these on sticker paper and then just cut them really easily. And they just are different titles. So this page is family labels, so you can print this out on sticker paper, and then try and find a weak page here. Okay, so you can print those out, and then they actually fit exactly on these, so you can just stick them on top of there. So if you wanted to label these as sections like family, work, you know, to do whatever, you can do that. And so I have ones that say family, this page says little things, this page says work, and then I have blank ones, and you can just literally write in, you know, whatever you want, and you can stick them anywhere. You don't have to stick them on the headers like this. You can put them in the middle. You can, you know, anything you want to stand out just to make it a little more fun and colorful. I've got a little drink tracker just because I like to track how much water I'm having. And then here's some other labels if you want something that's a little fatter, you know, or a little thicker for you to write in and whatnot. Those are blank. Here's some, also again, I'd print this on sticker paper and then just cut them out, but these are just little to-do boxes, and these do fit inside of, you know, these sections right here, and so you can just print that out and put it right there and then just fill it out with whatever you need to do for the day. And then here's just some random ones, and these are, hopefully you can see them. There's birthday, hair appointment, celebrate, laundry, dishes, workout, vacation, mani-pedi, anniversary, and you can just kind of print those out and just stick them wherever you want. And those are the same size as these ones, so if you want to make up your own, you can totally do that as well. And then I also have some little fun sticker sheets as well that are, this is gas, money for like if you get paid or bills or whatever, just a check mark to do this. There's, you know, a dog bone, airplane, a car, an email, a trash can, recycle, and then I have those in all of the colors as well. And then this one is a workout tab, so we can track that we are actually getting some exercise. And yeah, that is it. And then on the back page of this, when I go and get mine spiral bound, I usually just, this is a white linen. I'm sure you can't kind of tell on the camera, but it's just a little bit thicker. It's kind of cardstocky and it just has a linen feel. And then I do a white spiral binding, and then I do this clear cover on the front, and that just kind of helps make it a little bit more durable. And then, like I said, I chose to put these tabs in the middle, which I love them. I don't think it'll be a big deal. I do kind of wish I would have been a little bit planned ahead a little bit more, so that, you know, I didn't have them in the middle of my weeks, but it's fine. It's for me. I don't care. You'll be smarter when you go to the print shop, I'm sure. All right, so this is my daily planner, and again, this was for just general daily life planning. Okay, so that was my daily planner. Now the rest of the planners that I have are all homeschooling lesson planners. They're specifically meant to be used to plan your homeschool lesson day, and they all come with something called the homeschooling form. So if you buy one of my planners, you're gonna also get my homeschooling forms as well. So you'll get 2 downloads. You'll get the planner in one download, the forms in a separate download. And I did that because I thought if you wanted to print your entire planner and get it spiral bound or whatever, that would be easier. And then you might not want to actually print all of the homeschool forms. So I will show you all of what is included in here, but you might only want to print like 1 or 2 of these pages, and I didn't want to have you print the entire thing or whatever. I just thought it'd be easier to do it this way in 2 separate downloads. So if you purchase any of my lesson planners, you will also get these homeschooling planning forms. There's a ton of forms in here. I'll show you them in detail. So let's take a look and see what comes with all of our lesson planners. So here are my homeschooling forms. I just wanted to show you them really quickly. This is a separate download, but it comes with any of the planners, the lesson planners that you purchase. It doesn't come with the daily planner, if that makes sense. I wanted to just have it a separate download so that you could kind of print the forms as you need them. I print them, you know, each year as we go, so you'd only have to buy this one time, and then you can just use these forms every year from there on out. And I print them based on how many, you know, what I have 4 kids, so I print a form for each one. So the first thing that's in the planners is our vision for homeschooling. And I don't fill this out every year, but it basically just asks you some questions to kind of help you figure out why you have chosen to homeschool. I found that I refer back to this often. We don't necessarily redo it every year unless we have a change in vision, but it's nice to go back and see like why you were homeschooling in the first place. So that is the vision worksheet. You can skip that or you can use it, and it just kind of helps you, you know, just get a view for your homeschooling, why you're homeschooling, and that kind of thing. The next thing that's included in here is a notice of intent to homeschool form. This is just a basic form, and from what I know, this is required for all of the US states. You'll want to check with your state to see what's required, but there is one of these in here, and I can just fill out one form for all 4 of my kids, but I do have to mail this form in every year, so that's definitely something that you'll probably need and you'll want to check out. One thing that I did put in here was just our household rules chart. There's also a blank one as well, but these are just some of our rules and some of the verses. And then the discipline column is blank because you can kind of choose like what the consequence for disobeying is going to be in your family. And then here's just a blank one that you can just kind of do on your own. Here's one that just has the rule and the discipline if you don't want to back it up with scripture. And just some basic forms like that. Okay, the next one is our family schedule, and I do like to use this so that I kind of get an overall view of like, okay, so, you know, our family is homeschooling from here to here we have sports, you know, whatever, dance, whatever, swimming, etc. So this is just kind of a nice overview form that I like to use. Here's our commitment worksheet. I do like to kind of fill this out just so that we can see like what we're doing. You know, is my commitment inside the house, outside the house? Does it benefit our family? Does it take away from our family? What are our priorities? Because with 4 kids, everybody wants to do everything, and we just can't, it's just not realistic for us. And so we'll write down what everybody wants to be doing, you know, how much time it's gonna take, what their priority is, and then we maybe can use that just to kind of help us make decisions on what we're going to just allow everybody to do so that it kind of evens out for everyone. This one I probably use one of the most. This is our curriculum form, and I print these out each year. I put my student, their year, their grade up there. This is the subjects we're going to do, the curriculum that we're going to use, and what version it is. Is it new or borrowed? How much is it? That's the new cost, and how much did I pay for it, and did I actually get it? Because I added this column because one year I had all this filled out and then I actually forgot to order it, and so it was never received, and we literally started school and I was like, wait a minute, where is that? I'd planned it out on my form, I just didn't buy it. So you'll be smarter than I am. And then over here is a planned section, and I did that as well because you know, I get it, I receive it, all of that kind of thing. Did I actually plan for it? And that just really helps me kind of keep everything organized, especially with having 4 kiddos, just to make sure that we got everything that we needed, that it all got planned out and all of that. So I actually use this form every year for each of my kiddos. This is a curriculum plan overview form. I also use this form as well, and it's similar to the one I just showed you, but slightly different. So it has a planned column, the subject, the curriculum we're using. This one is the one I use when I'm planning my lesson plan, when I'm actually putting the information in my planner. So how many total lessons are there? How many days of the week are we going to do it? How much time is it going to take? And does it have a scheduled time? For example, when I'm doing our planner, I have, you know, Bible from 8 8:30 to 9 or whatever, math from 9 to 9:30. And you know, you can just kind of fill that out. This helps me, if I fill this out in advance, when I go to put all this information in my planner, I just can revert back to this really quickly and see like, okay, oh, I meant to do that Mondays and Tuesdays, or Tuesdays and Thursdays, or whatever. And so that's just really helpful. And I do use this form every year for all 4 of my kids. The next thing is a weekly subject overview. This is just kind of an overview form where there's the days of the week up here and the subject across down here. And then you can kind of say, okay, I'm going to do math every day for this student. I'm going to do history on these 2 days. I'm going to do, you know, art on this day and whatever. And the reason that I use this form and the reason I made it is because it's really easy to overwhelm your student with extra work. And you're like, oh, we're going to do all these subjects every single day. And when you start planning it out and seeing it like this, and it's like, whoa, that's actually a lot. This really helps me keep things kind of balanced out. So no day is like, you know, overwhelming. Or if I know like, okay, you know, we have options on Friday, so I need to kind of fit stuff in here. You know, I want to be doing testing on Thursdays. I don't want a whole bunch of extra stuff on this day. I can kind of move it over here. So it just helps me kind of organize and just keep things balanced. So I do use this one as well. This is just a weekly schedule overview if you'd like this. I do have these on my website. You can kind of see what ours look like. If you just search my blog for our daily schedule, I think is what I called them. And I think I have them by grades, like second day grade, daily schedule, etc. Anyways, there's times on the sides and then the days of the week. I didn't put the weekends on here because weekends are kind of off, so hopefully that fits your guys' needs as well. But I basically say, okay, from this time here, we're doing breakfast, then we're doing school, then we're doing lunch, then we're doing school, then we're doing sports, dinner, bedtime, whatever. And this just kind of helps me, I kind of color code this, fill in these boxes and, you know, write in what it is. Just helps me kind of visualize our basic overall schedule, and again helps me organize things so that we're not too overwhelmed in our commitments. This one is a book list, so date that we need it, the title of the book, corresponding lesson, that like what curriculum does it go to, how much is it going to cost if I got it from the library or whatever, and did I actually get it? Again, you know, plan all this stuff out and then forget to get it, doesn't really help. This is a field trip planning form, and there's actually a more detailed one as well. I'm not sure if I'll see if it's in here, but there's a date, activity, corresponding lesson, cost, and when it's done. And I like to use this because as we're going through and I'm planning, if I see you know, something in like our history or our science plans that are field trip worthy, then I can just fill this form out really quick and say like, okay, so on this date in my planner, you know, we want to do this activity, it's going to go with this thing. And that just helps me organize a little bit better because it's a lot of information to be putting in at once. And I want to make sure my field trips are kind of useful and appropriate for what we're studying. These are extracurricular activities, sign up date, you know, okay, my kids do hockey, most of you know that. There are definitely dates that I have to have things in, we have to sign up by, there's tryouts, all that kind of stuff. And so I will put all that information on this sheet. You know, what is it, when is it, how much is it going to cost, did we, you know, have I done it, so that I make sure that I don't forget to sign them up for things and things like that. This is a craft supply list, so I usually take my curriculum, go through it, figure out anything that we need. What store do I need to go to? What is the supply? How much of it do I need? How much does it cost? When do I need it by? What lesson does it go with? And did I get it? And then the other one down here is just basic supplies like scissors, glue, paper, all that kind of stuff. That way I can just kind of make a list and I can take this with me to the store. That way I don't forget things, you know, just basics. That way when we get to a lesson plan, a lot of times, you know, you'll get to something fun and it's like, oh, cool. And then you realize you forgot to get the supplies for it, and then it's kind of a bummer. So that's what I use that for. There's also just a plain school supply shopping list I just threw in here, which is just total basics, pencils, crayons, markers, Sharpies, highlighters, etc. This is just stuff that we kind of tend to get yearly, and you can just check them off or cross them off or whatever. This one is if you need photocopies. So for example, if you're doing something that requires you to take photocopies for whatever reason, date needed, name of the file, where it's stored, how many copies you need, and did you do it? This one is a unit study planning form. A lot of people ask how I plan out my unit studies and my literature units and things like that, and I sort of use this as a guide. So this just has, I'll try and get this a little closer so you can see. So it's got the unit, what it's going to be called, how many weeks or lessons we're going to do, when are we going to schedule, and then just what is, like an overview of what it is. And then up here is materials you need, can you buy it or borrow it, how much is it going to cost, did you get it? As you can see, I have a problem remembering to get things after I plan them. Those are assignments that you might need to do, or projects you might to complete, or anything else that needs to be done. activities to include, like field trips or games or whatever, how much it's going to cost, and is it organized and ready to go. And then down here is any just kind of notes, like what did I use any websites for this? Is there any vocabulary that we need to do? Are there any worksheets and copies that I need to make? And this just kind of helps me plan out our unit studies, especially if we're going to kind of add in something on the side that maybe isn't in the curriculum that I chose or whatever. This just helps keep it organized. It helps me know what I need to do, when I need to do it, and how much it's going to cost. And sometimes I have filled this out and the cost is more than what I'm willing to do, and it's like, you know what, okay, we're gonna just skip that. But this really kind of helps you get an overall view of that kind of, you know, of what you're gonna do and whether or not it's worth it. All right, in the back I also have some grading sheets, even though it was in the planner I showed you as well. But there's the homeschool attendance records, so you can just keep your attendance and then your totals. And like I said, we have to turn that in. In the back also, sorry, I put this incorrectly in there, is a preschool assessment form. So I have a preschool and a kindergarten assessment form, and this is fall and spring, and then all this is just, I don't use this to like grade my preschoolers or kindergartens. This is just an assessment list of things that I feel like, okay, we need to kind of be doing this. How are we in the fall when we start? Can we, you know, do we have self-confidence? Do we make good use of our time? Can we work independently? You know, fine motor skills, reading readiness, verbal, music, art, large motor skills, health and wellness, personal development, and math readiness. So these are all just little sections. I do not show this to my kids. I just kind of check these off, and there's a little key up here like needs further development, I haven't taught it yet, or yep, we got it, we're good. And this just helps me say, okay, as I'm kind of assessing these things throughout the year, if we need work on something, it's really easy for me to see, oh yeah, okay, I need to work on this or whatever, and I can just add that in. I do not share this information with my kids. It is not like a test that they feel like they're taking or anything like that. I just kind of make little notes in this as we go along. And like I said, I have one for preschool and one for kindergarten. The other thing that I also have in here are sight word assessments, and these go from, it's called Kindergarten 1, Kindergarten 2. This can be preschool. I think this is a little bit, you know, advanced for preschool, but there's a Kindergarten 1 level, a Kindergarten 2, first grade, second grade, and third grade sight word assessments. And this you can kind of just give them a quick, you know, can they read it? Can they spell it? Yes or no? And then you'll know which words that you need to look at. And these sight words are all covered in my sight word printables as well. So you can, if you need work on something, you can just get out one of those activities and, yeah, get it done. And then the other thing that's included in here are long-term grades and records. Then the last page is just my super mom versus a biting mom form. This is super popular printable, and so I just kind of put it in my homeschool forms just because it's just an encouragement, hopefully, for you as a homeschool mama that you're doing a good job and you're not trying to, you know, keep up with your neighbor, basically. So yeah, so those are my homeschool planning forms. You can, like I said, you can just, this comes with any of my lesson planners. You can, here, let me move that so it's not blinding you. It comes with any of my planners, and then you can just print them out as you need them. Okay, so my next planner that I have, and this is just kind of my standard planner. This is the updated one for the upcoming school year, depending on when you're watching this. It's for the 2017-2018 school year. All of the planners have different looks and feels, but most of them have basically the same contents. They just have different themes for them. And I just did that because I know there's some, you know, I have one that's a little more masculine and things like that, just to give people a variety. This one is an 8x10 portrait layout planner, and I'll show you all of the papers that, or all the pages that come in this one as well. So let's take a closer look inside this one. All right, so here's what my 2017-18 lesson planner looks like. And this one is dated. As I mentioned, it's got a date on the front of it. If you see that, it means it's dated. The ones I'm going to show you after this are actually not dated, and I'll kind of explain why. So again, I did the same thing. I moved the clear cover so it's not shining on you here, and there's a white spiral. I actually only printed a little bit of this planner. I'll put the page numbers on the screen below. I don't remember how many pages are in it. I only printed 1 month just so you could kind of see it, and I use this as a sample when I, you know, go to homeschool and conventions and things like that. So this is what the cover looks like, and then each year obviously the dates would change. The first page is basically just a year at a glance, and it's got all of the months on there, and this one goes August through July. All right, and then on the first page, there's a couple pages of annual grades, and this is so you can keep grades for, you can write in subjects, the grade, maybe what their percentile was. You can do the total down here, but there's one for each month, so you can kind of keep a running total. Now, you could always print as many pages of this as you want before you spiral bind it. If you have several, you know, if you have 4 kids, you'd want to print 4 of these pages and that kind of thing. So I have 4 kids, so I've got 4 pages printed of that. The next thing is an attendance log, and for our state you do have to keep attendance. You'll want to just check with your state, but basically it has each month and the days, and then you can just mark them, and then up here I have which student that's for. And so if you have 4 students, you might want to check those. And then I just put a little verse on the side. Here's another one. And then I've got another page that instead of verses just has quotes on it. So you can kind of use those however you want. So those are the attendance logs. And then I also have a grade book, and this would be, you know, you can put your student up here, and then up here you would write basically the assignments. Down here you can write dates, due, grades. You can kind of just use that form however you want. It's just kind of a traditional standard grade book form. And you can again print this page as many times as you need. I printed 4 of them. Oh, no, I printed more. All right, and then this page is a reading log, and I really like having this in here because I print one for each of my students, and then we just keep track of their reading. So the titles up here, probably can't see on camera, are the title of the book, the date, how much they read, and then just parent sign off. So they'll come and say, okay, Mom, I'm reading this book, and then we'll just fill out this information, and then we'll put the new title and whatnot. And that's just a nice tracker for me. I also, in my homeschooling forms, I have a book list, and so I kind of use that in conjunction with this just to see what they've done and just make sure they're getting a certain amount of reading done in each day. And again, like I said, you can print as many pages as you need. And then the planner itself looks like this. So they all have a month at a glance. So this planner starts in July, and I think it runs through August. I'll put the details are actually in the file in my store. But anyways, you have like a nice month layout. And then this side is to-do lists, any books I need to get, any supplies I need to get, and just extra notes that I need for that month. And I like to use this field just so that I can kind of plan out, you know, oh, I need to get this, we're doing this craft or whatever. And I can just easily see it here and then just, you know, note that and run to the store and get whatever supplies we need or whatever. Run to the library, get whatever books we need, and then we're kind of ready for this month. And then each week looks like this. This planner is dated, so there's a date up here at the top, and across the top is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then over here down the side are just blank tabs, and you can just write in your subjects on those. And then on the lines you can write in, you know, say this was math, they can do math lesson 1. I actually like to use different colored pens, and there's some pictures of that on in the store when I show you, you know, the planner kind of in picture form. And I use different colored pens for each one of my kids so that I know, you know, if it's pink, it's, you know, my oldest, if it's yellow, it's my middle, you know, etc. Blue, it's my son. And then that actually kind of makes it helpful for me to just visually see who's doing what. Now you could also just print off one of these for each of your kids as well. I have no problem if you purchase this planner, you printing it off 4 times for your kids. You don't need to buy 4 of the same planner to reuse it. I don't have a problem with you doing that. Try to make it easier for you. And then there's a little notes column over here where you can write anything additional, like, you know, if you have a book you need to read, or just some little extra information on, you know, notes that don't fit on these little lines and that kind of thing. And so each month is going to kind of look like that. And then at the end, I do believe, oh, no, there's August. Okay, so then at the end, there's some notes pages, and that's it. So this is just 1 month of my planner. Obviously, the entire year is in here. And then I wanted to show you. All right, so I like to use these friction pens. These are erasable pens. They're nice and colorful. Like I said, I like to do a different color for each student. And so if this were the math column, I would just write in here, you know, math, whatever they're doing, lesson 1, it doesn't really matter. But the good thing with these pens is that since this is a write planner, I don't want to use pencil because it gets all smudgy. I like to color code my kids, like I said, and these pens are awesome. You just erase them and you can move on, and it's like it was never there. So these pens are like seriously really cool. I will say that if this planner goes outside and gets like really ice cold, these marks actually will go back. Or if you put it in the freezer, my kids like to use these as disappearing ink. You can write something, erase it, and then put it in the freezer and it'll come off. The friction, heat from the friction is what causes them to erase. I've never had an issue with my planners. You know, they're inside most of the time, so I've never had like past writing like come back, but you know, just something to take into consideration when you're doing planning. But anyways, these are a great resource. We have them in all different colors. I get them on Amazon, and I will link them below. But again, they're the Pilot Friction erasable pens. So I also have one that's a floral kind of theme, and this one actually I'm not going to do close-ups because it literally has, I'll kind of try and do this. This is actually my blog planner, but I made the exact same thing for lesson planning, and this is my blog planner from clear back in 2013. But as you can see, it's just got kind of floral pages, and the lesson planner has these exact same pages. Each month is like a different color. But they all kind of have this florally sort of layout. But they have all the same pages that are in my lesson planner that I just showed you. So I have that one, and then I also don't have it printed, but I have one called Arrows Planner, and it's red, gray, and black theme, so it's kind of more masculine for people. I know my printables can kind of tend to be really colorful and kind of girly, but that's just what you know, I like, and I make them. So I did make one though that's kind of more masculine. You can check that out. It's on my store as well. My other one I have is this portrait one. So this is called the Colorful Planner, or not portrait, sorry, landscape. And this one was actually, if you buy my Homeschooling 101 book, this also comes with it for free, so you don't have to buy like a separate planner. And it also comes with the homeschooling forms. So let's take a closer look inside this one. The layout, the contents of it are basically the same, but the layout's just a little bit different, and I'll kind of show you why when we get inside. Okay, so here is my lesson planner that comes with those forms, and so I just wanted to quickly show you the layout. So this one is a landscape layout, and I designed it with no dates, so you can just print and reuse this several times. Down this side you can fill in subjects, and there's spaces for 8 subjects, and then there's 4 lines for each, and I kind of did that because I have 4 kids, and so I will put 1 child on each line, and I'll show you how I'll fill this out. And then there's also a month at a glance on there as well. And then for this one, it kind of just looks the same for every month after that. So I have all the forms in a separate download, so you're not having to download those every time. But then if you want to use this planner for any planning or whatever, you can do that. All right, so one other new planner that I've added this year is a student planner. And this one is specifically designed for your students. You could use this as a homeschooling mama, but really the pages that are in here are really meant more directly for your student. It's for them to help keep track of all their assignments, tests, quizzes. There's also a section in here to keep track of their activities and maybe, you know, like extracurricular kind of activity information, any projects that they need to be working on, book reading, and all of that kind of stuff. So let's take a closer look inside of this one, and I'll show you exactly what's included. Okay, so for this planner, and again, it will say student on it if it's for the student planner. It will also be dated. Both of my student planners are currently dated, so I don't have a non-dated one at this time. In any case, when you open it up, you'll see a year at a glance page. You'll see some grade tracking pages where they can keep track of their grades. These are, of course, also in yours. I also have attendance tracking in here in the event that they need to keep track of that. And these are more like specific grades. So if they want to, you know, keep track of tests and quizzes and things like that, they can kind of keep track themselves here. So there's a couple of those. We also have an exam schedule in there where they can write down any major tests or exams that they want to kind of keep track of as well. And any major assignments. These are project planner pages. They have a project description, any resources they need, notes, any supplies when it's due, and what their grade is on it. And that just kind of helps them if they're having to do, you know, a specific project for a class or whatever. And so I have a couple of those pages in there. And you can kind of print out pages that you need and skip the pages that you don't need as well when you're putting this together. Here's a to-do list, and probably can't see that very well, but there we go. I have that kind of a to-do list where it's just bigger lists, and then I've got these kind of shorter lists in here. And again, you can kind of print out and use, you know, whatever you like. Okay, I've also got some inspiration pages. They can keep track of social media, websites, you know, ideas, things like that if they're having to take notes on pages. I've also got a My Activities page, and this one just includes information on extracurricular activities, like what time their practices are, what dates they are, special games and events, any equipment or supplies they need, and then information on their leader or their coach, their phone, email, social media, and that kind of thing. And that way they can kind of have somewhere where they have all their contact information in as well. And I realize a lot of kids use their phones these days, but in case you know, they want to have it somewhere else. There's also a contact pages, you know, just for friends, birthdays, things like that. Here's a reading log. If they need to keep track of their reading, you can sign off on it, or you know, they can keep track of their minutes and all of that. And then basically every month from here on out kind of looks similar. So there's a month at a glance page, and then kind of just notes page for that, things they need to do, any books they need, supplies, or extra notes. And this is going to be at the front of every month. And then the actual pages look like this. So there's a weekly overview, and if you're watching this, when I printed it out, I did have these days wrong, listed wrong on here, so they are fixed on the purchase copy. There's a section for assignments, what class it's from, when it's due, any exams, and what class that's from. There's kind of an open notes section down here, and then a book reading list and what pages they need to do there. And so each week is going to kind of be like that. And then over here on this side, this is kind of like the week like overview kind of like list, and then on this side will be more detailed daily information. So they've got their subject, these, like I said, they are dated, so you know, Monday the 3rd or whatever, what subject, and then any specific assignments they need to do. And then my daughter would just write her stuff in and then just highlight it or cross it off when she's done. And so this would be Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then notes section, so they can write out their more detailed lessons here, and then more kind of an overview here. They could write out, you know, if they have any sports events or games or tests due or anything like that. So you kind of have a weekly overview and then a more detailed look of your weekly lessons. So from here on out, all of them are going to basically look like that. So this planner does run from July through June 2017 through 2018. And then when I printed them out, I actually just went and got these little sticky tabs here, and then I put them on, as you can see, myself. And they're just sticker tabs. They just go right on. You can write the dates on them. They also have ones you can purchase with the dates already pre-written on them, but I just did these because they were fast and easy. And then that way, as you're, you know, if you're needing to get to your planner quickly or whatever, you can just kind of quickly turn to that page. But anyways, that is basically what is included in the student lesson planners. The student lesson planners do not come with the homeschooling forms, basically, because those are really kind of more of a parent thing, and so they come with my, you know, homeschool lesson planners, but not the student planners. So I just wanted to kind of point that out. But that's basically what is included in the student planner. I just printed this out, took it to my local office supply store, and this is what I did with all my planners. Got it spiral bound, and then I have them put this clear cover on it. And it was about $4.50, I think, to do that. So it was pretty inexpensive. The color printing, you know, will probably cost you a little bit more. My tip on that is there is a website called the Homeschool printingcompany.com. They offer fairly inexpensive color printing, especially for, you know, larger things like a planner. You can also look online for other printing options. Bringing it to a local office supply store to print can actually be kind of pricey, so I usually try and avoid that, but that's just my little tip. You can of course print wherever works best for you. All right, and then one other thing I wanted to mention quickly with my student lesson planners is that they do not come with the Homeschooling 101 forms. Those really only come with my homeschool lesson planners. So just a distinction there, the student planners do not. They really are specifically meant for students to help them keep track of all of their daily assignments and activities and all of that. All right, everyone, so those are the planners that I currently have available. I do update them annually. The homeschooling planners tend to run from July through July or August. It'll say in the description in the planner. I've kind of been changing them around because some people start school in July and some people, you know, don't. It's kind of hard to sort of please everybody, so I've tried to give a wide date range there. Tends to be the average school year. People tend to start somewhere around July and roll around that way, so they don't run January through December. The daily planner does run January through December, and so does the blog planner. So the main difference at this point, I would say, is if you see a date on the front of the cover, so for example 2017-18, 2018 daily planner, that means they are dated. The dates are actually included in the planner. You would have to kind of repurchase this planner each year. The dates will be updated, the calendars will be updated and all of that. The rest of the planners are non-dated planners. That means you could purchase it one time and then just reprint it every year if you want to keep using it. That also does mean that you have to write in your own dates. And that's kind of good and bad. Bad because it kind of takes some more time, but good, it gives you a little bit more flexibility with your planner. I wanted to kind of have ones that were dated and ones that weren't, just to give you guys a little bit of flexibility. So again, if you see a date on the front of the cover, it means that it is dated. If there's no date on the front of the cover, for example, like my colorful planner here, you'll see that there's no date on the front of it. That means that it's not a dated planner. So I hope that clears everything up. If you have any questions, or maybe if some of my planners are missing a feature that you would really like to see added, please make sure to leave a comment below. I can't promise that I'll add everything in. I do my best to try and make them as thorough and as helpful as possible for everybody, and they've kind of changed over the years based on suggestions and things like that. So I'm always happy to hear your guys' suggestions. I want to obviously make these usable for you as well, and hopefully make your life a little bit easier. So I hope you enjoy this video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today for this. It's not really a Tuesday, but I did want to share my planners with you. So thank you so much for spending time with me, and I will see you next time.